before we start, I have to give a huge thank you to all of my fans for helping me get 600 subscribers. It's truly a spectacle, guys, and without you, I couldn't have made this happen even if my life depended on it. You are truly awesome, and I'm gonna continue my quest to become the very best in providing you top quality entertainment videos. I won't be making a special commemorative video because I made that introductory video for the channel trailer not that long ago, so you can consider that an early celebration since I was very close to 600 subscribers when I made that video. But with that said, let's continue on with the show. Today's archetype is the Phantom Beast archetype, which has a very interesting history behind it. Originally, their effects are a straight adaptation of the anime-exclusive White Knight archetype, which Manjome used in GX when he was in possession of Sayo. But in originality, this is actually a dual monsters archetype because one of their first ever monsters, which for the English-speaking countries wasn't even a part of the archetype, was used by Yugi Moto in the original show. And that monster is the one and only Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts. Or, as he's known in Japan, Gazelle, the King of Phantom Beasts. So, yeah, this thing is only a part of the archetype due to its name. And so is the fusion monster, which requires it as material. But we'll get to that. So yeah, even in the new erratas of the card, it says this card is always treated as a Phantom Beast card. Instead of, why didn't they simply rename it Gazelle, the King of Phantom Beasts, even, when they decided to errata this card in order to, well, make it a part of the archetype in order to cut down on the effects of the other Phantom Beast. But speaking of those, let's take a look at them, shall we? We start off with Phantom Beast Wildhorn, which is a level 4 beast warrior with 1700 attack and 0 defense, and its only effect is that it deals piercing damage. Yeah, this may not look like much, but combined with their certain other monster and their trap card, this thing can turn into a very formidable normal summonable beatstick. So yeah, pretty good, but that's literally all it does, so yeah. Moving on to the monster that actually helps the Wildhorn out is Phantom Beast Crosswing. Its effect is that, well, this card is in the graveyard, all Phantom Beast monsters on the field gain 300 attack. Again, not pretty underwhelming at first, but if you manage to get 3 of them into the graveyard, all of the Phantom Beasts will receive a 900 attack point boost, which is pretty damn ridiculous for other effects such as this, and providing and further complementing this card is that it boosts all cards that have the Phantom Beast moniker. So yeah. This turns all your Phantom Beasts into pretty legitimate beaters, but the lack of an on-field effect for this thing makes this thing the prime foolish burial fodder if I ever saw one. Anyway, next up we have Phantom Beast Thunder Pegasus. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can remove from play with this card from your graveyard to make the battle damage taken by one Phantom Beast monster to 0. And also, the monster cannot be destroyed by battle. So yeah, this is an archetypal Necrogardna. In fact, this thing actually came out 1 year before Necrogardna, and for what it does, it's pretty decent actually. But just like the card that it soon got compared to, it's not that worth running. Well, the original Necrogardna is a lot better since the Necrogardna actually protects you from direct attacking, even though the Necrogardna, the original one, is also not worth running anymore due to the fact that Speedroid Triad Dice is its modern replacement, since it also happens to be a tuner monster. So yeah. If you're playing a Phantom Beast deck for whatever reason, this one doesn't tend to hurt, as it can help you out on quite a few occasions. Their first tribute monster is the level 5 Baphomet, and yeah, he doesn't even have the Phantom Beast moniker in the name, but it's part of the archetype because of its effect and due to the fact that it requires their fusion monster requires it as a fusion material. And when this card is normal or flip summoned, you can add one Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, from your deck to your hand. Now you might be thinking that because the fusion is so unbelievably overpowered and good, that this effect would also be warranted. Well, I'm disappointed to say, because that is not the case, since this is one of the worst tribute summon monsters of all time. And yeah, searching one specific monster is not a very good card, and not a very good sign when it comes to effects. So yeah, unless you're playing the fusion monster for some reason, even though running Baphomet and Gazelle does you more harm than good in this archetype. So yeah, don't run this. There are much better cards for which do arguably the same thing, if not better, if you want to play fusions for some reason. Anyway, their final main deck monster is Phantom Beast Rock Lizard. If you're tributed to summoning a Phantom Beast monster or a Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, this card can be summoned with one tribute. So yeah, this effect is kind of needed, since this is a level 7 monster with 2200 attacks. So yeah, pretty low for a level 7 monster. But here's where it continues. When this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. And when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, inflict 2000 damage to the opponent. So yeah, this effect is fairly interesting due to the floating effect. If a monster like this gets popped by a card effect, which is not something that should happen too often, because the attack value is very minuscule for a level 7 monster, the opponent will be hit with 2000 damage to the face, which is a pretty sufficient amount of burn damage. And yeah, you can kind of bait this out, if you will, by boosting its effect with Crosswing and the trap card, so it will have pretty legitimate stats when it hits the field. So there's that at least. And yeah, it's better than their other boss monster, which is their final monster in the fusion, Chimera, the flying mythical beast. And if you live in Japan, it's known as Chimera, the flying phantom beast. So yeah, requires Gazelle and Baphomet as material, always treated as a phantom beast card, of course. And sorry, when this card is destroyed, you can target one Baphomet or Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, in your graveyard and special summon them. Because that's what a level 6 fusion with terrible stats should do. Just float into one of its materials, which doesn't even have a graveyard recursion. Wonderful design there. Yeah, I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse by saying that this card is terrible, because it's a very old card from like 2002, I wanna say. So yeah, just don't even bother. There are better fusions if you want to play fusions in this archetype, and this archetype is not primarily known for its fusions. So yeah, and their final card is the trap card Horn of the Phantom Beast, which we've mentioned a few times. Target one beast or beast warrior monster you control, equip this card to that target. It gains 800 attack, and if the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can draw one card. So yeah, this actually used to be a very popular deck choice, and a pretty legit draw power card for many beast warrior beast or beast warrior archetypes, since they ran at least 2 of these, so to facilitate some nice draw power. So since that monster subtype really struggles with consistency, depending on the archetype, of course. And that is pretty much it, so let's get on to the grades. In terms of consistency, the only source of consistency is Fire Formation Tenki and Horn of the Phantom Beast, which is not much, and Beast Warriors don't have any other consistent search options other than Tenki, so that's a complete 1 out of 3. Power. In terms of power, these guys can hit fairly hard because of Wild Horn and Rock Lizard combined with Crosswing and the Trap card, along with Tenki's boost, which is not much, but it can push them to be that bit better in terms of power output. And yeah, it can provide some legit power output. So here's a 2 out of 3 from me. And in terms of comeback ability, it relies completely on cards unrelated to the archetype. None of them, barely any of them help out Beast or Beast Warrior subtypes, and even Winged Beast if you run some of them in this deck. So yeah, that's a complete 1 out of 3. Protection exists in form of Thunder Pegasus, and that's about it. So complete 1 out of 3, and that's only battle protection, mind you. And as for the versatility, well, there were some Fire Fist engines which actively employed Wildhorn and maybe Crosswing in some very rare occasions. So yeah, well, not gonna matter anymore since Fire Fists are not that competitive anymore, and splashing these things in is not going to make them any more relevant. So here's a 1 out of 3 as well. So yeah, those were Phantom Beasts, which I gotta be honest, I wonder how the archetype would have turned out if the White Knight monsters were actually adapted into this archetype instead of Phantom Beasts, because they would have been warriors, which would have made them a bit more better in the consistency department. The effects might have remained exactly the same, but it really makes me wonder. I have no idea why they would easily drop the White Knight archetype and replace them with these beastly looking things. Well, one of the reasons was that there is the White Knight, as in N-I-G-H-T archetype, which I reviewed earlier, which consists of White Knight Queen and White Knight Dragon. So there might be that confusion. So yeah, other than that, I really have no reason to state why they could have abandoned the White Knight archetype from the anime and turned them into Phantom Beasts. So yeah. Anyway, this video is done. Stay tuned for the next one, and the next video should be a Zexalera archetype. Yep, it's a Zexalera archetype, a very amusing one to say the least. So let's wait until tomorrow to let you all know what I'm talking about. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more BitBookers and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. As usual, I'll upload the next video whenever I can. Be sure to check out my Patreon when you got the time, and maybe drop a few donations if you feel like it. See you all, and have a good day. Peace, and P.S. Thank you once again for 600 subscribers. Have a good day.